Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for coming out for tonight's council meeting. Okay. Let the record show that all council members are present. We will have the innovation by Dave McMurray, Grace Baptist Church, and we will have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Boyd. Would you all please stand? And good evening, sir.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for the privilege of praying with you and just recognize that we all love the city, and that's why we're here. So let me pray. God, we thank you that you loved us first, and so we pray that you would teach us by your wisdom how to love your city, Killeen, Texas. We pray that you'd give wisdom and strength to those involved, to the citizens, to the leaders, that you would guide and protect us. Lord, we pray for the flourishing, for the health, for the strength of this city. We pray that you would be honored in this place. We pray for truth and justice to be clear, and we pray that you'd guide the proceedings even tonight. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor McMurray and Councilmember Boyd. We will now have the approval of the agenda. Councilmember Boyd.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Councilmember Gonzalez.
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. The motion carries 7-0. Thank you, council. We will now have our citizen comments. Mrs. Siobhan Mathis. Good afternoon, ma'am. You have 4 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Manager, and Council. How many pedestrians in Killeen, Texas must be killed, left disabled, or maimed before something is done? I can give 3 examples that constitute a real problem in our city. Lighting.
Ma'am, you on our agenda to, Councilmember Boyd just told me you are a special guest. So you will have your time to speak after citizen comments, or you can speak for 4 minutes now. It's up to you.
I would rather go now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I can give 3 examples that constitute a real problem in our city. 1 is lighting, 2 is sidewalks, crosswalks, speed, and lack of pedestrian right-of-ways. Surely you all vetted these issues when you decided to extend Elms Road. There are concerns all over our city about these issues, not just Elms Road, which I'm addressing at this time. There is inadequate lighting and little to no sidewalks on Elms Road. Not to mention the high rates of speed that occur on this road in what is considered by the city to be a business area where there are 2 mobile home parks, a housing community with families, a high school, middle school, and that are also on this road. And not to mention the thousands of students that have to use this road to get to and from school. All of these issues were to be tied into the safety infrastructure when Elms Road was extended. Do you know how many pedestrians that have been killed, maimed, or left disabled due to this problem on Elms Road? I know a few. My daughter, Tatiana Mathis, age 23, was killed by a driver on December 5th, 2022, as she attempted to cross Elms Road from Gateway Convenience Store to Southern Hills Mobile Home Park. It was around 7 p.m. We've lived in that mobile home park for 12 years. In 11 years, Tatiana has never not made it home. She's always made it home, coming from across that street. I was told that she had failed to yield the right of way when crossing. But my question to you all is, how does one yield when they don't have access to sidewalks, crosswalks, proper lighting, pedestrian signs, or lights. The driver who killed my daughter states that he didn't see her, and he was only cited for having no driver's license nor insurance. My daughter died from this incident, never to come home. She left a 3-year-old daughter behind. Another casualty that happened is Eliana Shoemate. She was killed earlier that year on July 22nd, 2022, on Elms Road. There is another one that was in 2018, and this one involved a high school student where she was attempting to cross the road. As a citizen of Killeen, the safety of all of our citizens should be taken seriously, since the city was given grant money to have lights, sidewalks, and other safety measures put in place to deal with these issues, and also dealing with the speed. Being born and raised in Killeen, I've never seen this problem back then as much as I do now. Can you explain why there are now traffic lights and pedestrian signs and crosswalks on W.S. Young and Little Nolan Road, but few on Elms Road and all over the city? Who is accountable for these issues and concerns for our city when it comes to a loss of a life or a loved one? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Miss Connie Nuno. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. You have 4 minutes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Connie Munoz. My daughter passed away July 22nd of 22. She had mental issues. I was on top of it for her, but she became an adult, and she had an episode, a schizophrenic episode. I had been trying to put her into the hospital. She was told 3 to 5 times that the social workers came out. She didn't want to hurt herself, and she didn't. She had packed her bags, and, she took everything, even her dog leash. She wanted to come take her dog with her. She had the mentality of an 8-year-old. She was trying to cross Elms Road when she got hit. And the same issue I had as Shavana, KPD didn't even call me. Bill Cook said, "Did you get a call from KPD about an investigation?" I said, "No one's called me to ask her about her story." Again, the driver was not even issued a ticket. Someone took her life, and because maybe he wasn't drinking alcohol, someone's not gonna say I was on the phone, I was texting. There was no trees, no bushes. It was daylight. At 1:45 p.m. Is when she got hit. My daughter never came in as well. I moved here to Killeen in 2020. My daughters had gotten older. We needed a bigger house. This looked like a safe and, good community to move my family to. I'm a single mother. 2 years later, one of my daughters gets taken from me. I have 3 girls in total. It has affected all our lives. And KPD was called out to my house 5 times within the 48 hours of her passing. I asked, who am I supposed to call to help me with her? They looked at me and said, "We can't help you. There's nothing we can do." And they would just leave. And, what do you do when the police is telling you, "We can't help you. Keep your daughter safe"? They got better things to do. There was a mental warrant issued that morning at 6 a.m., which I alerted KPD too, that it was there, it was coming from her social worker. They said, "We're not babysitters." She was, I'm not gonna lie, she was being aggressive with the family members at the home. But she knew to behave in front of strangers, in law enforcement. She was fine. And because she was being abused as well as what we reported her to try to keep her safe from herself, they left her each time I called. And I said, "What is this difference than domestic violence?" They left her. We had to sleep together in the living room because we were scared of her. And like I said, I was told they were going to come pick her up between 8 and 4 p.m. that day. She died at 1:45 p.m. They were coming at 4 p.m. because there was 5 pickups that day in Killeen. She was 2 hours from being picked up and staying alive. And that's what I have to live with now for the rest of my life. My hardest wasn't good enough for her that day. And like I said, an 8-year-old doesn't know how to cross Elms. She was trying to get her luggage. I mean, there was no sighting. Human life is being taken, whether you're drinking or not, and you don't even get a ticket. I don't understand. She was a human life. She worked at P. Terry's and she was 16. She was a working citizen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, sorry,
Your
thank you.
time is up. I
Okay, thank you.
apologize. Yes,
Thank you for
ma'am.
listening to me.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyd?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know I have a minute. I'll try to fill this all in 1 minute. I just want to first say our condolences to you to losing your daughter on the streets here in Killeen. Ms. Shavana and Corrine reached out to me the day after we, as a council, determined to remove the citizen comments on non-agenda related items. And I watched as they sat up here in the front, enduring that entire conversation, waiting to share their experience with the council on a relevant community issue. And she called me the day after and shared that with me. And I determined, using my discretion, that I would bring this as an agenda item for the council to hear, rightfully so, being a relevant community-related item. And so that's what we received today. I do realize there are some issues with sidewalks, lighting, and along West Elms within my district, and I've been working and advocating for that. There is funding through ARPA that we put aside, about $750 grand for gaps in sidewalks, so I'll be working to see where that goes. But thank you.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Again, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. And I'm truly saddened to hear that this has happened. But I would like to connect at some point as well. There are other parents, nobody wants to have to endure the loss of a child, okay? But also understanding that there are legislative things that create roadblocks to get things done when we're talking about state and federal law when it comes to mental health challenges and such. There are a group of parents here locally that are working and advocating for themselves for situations like your daughter's and then some that I would like to put you in touch with. And also, if anybody else is listening, I'll be able to gather that information and share that so that you know that there's a network of people that are also working to change the laws to help us help you. Okay.
Thank you. And council, as we get ready to discuss our priorities for this year, that should be one of the top priorities. We need to relook all of our sidewalks, roadways, and if there's areas like that, lighting, that's a different thing. But it's a problem that can be solved. And my condolences go to both of you. Now we will have the discussion item. Ma'am, you have the opportunity to speak again if you would like. I'm sorry, Madam Secretary.
Madam Mayor,
Oh,
are there
so more
citizen?
citizen comments. Oh, I forgot about these. I'm sorry, I apologize. Mr. Cameron Cochran, good evening. You have 4 minutes. And thank you, Madam Secretary.
Before I start, I'd like to say I'm envious of Sean. Sean's a fellow member who always comes up and asks questions of the dais. You work overtime to answer his questions, but when others come up here, you don't give that same courteous opportunity. So I want to say congratulations, Sean, for having his questions answered. My first question is about the city manager who I think attended some ribbon cutting ceremonies. Was he being paid on the clock when he did that?
Sir, that's
was he
not
off?
on the agenda.
Oh, it's not on the agenda. How about, you did a presentation that said that the city downtown is 80% occupied, but
Sir,
yet your slide
that
said
was not
73%.
on the agenda.
All right, thank you, Deborah. Let's move on. Tonight, I want to tell everyone that the city council is going to act like an ATM machine. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Many people are going to come before them with agenda items, and the city council's willingly going to hand out money and give a lot of it away. But let's move on. Like the mayor, I also have a master's degree in human resource. Let's look at RS 24-19, agreement to purchase OpenGov and Ultimate Krynos Group software. Well, let's see. I did about a 15-minute search because I wasn't here last week and had to watch online. Allegedly, OpenGov has an F rating for its financial services, but hey, let's go with an F rating IT program. When searching the Krynos group, I found out that back in 2022, it was hacked. That's why I had to merge with a different company because it, I guess, was open, allegedly, to less scrupulous people attacking it. I asked the question earlier of your person who took 7 months to research, and he said, based on my question, do the new system and the old systems talk to each other? Or, they're compatible? The answer is no. So the money he's going to ask for, from $3 to $5 million, isn't even for the old system. The old system has to stay up and running. His presentation said that's going to be probably a year that system has to go up and running. So don't be fooled by the $3 to $5 million. You're also going to be paying more for the old system to keep it up and running. Let's look at firewalls. Does the new system have firewalls? We don't know. It wasn't part of the presentation. Lots of things weren't part of that presentation, just like the alleged F rating and the alleged computer hack. Let's look at a different subject. Last week or last time, there were several council members who called in. Were they using a secure line to make those comments and
Sir,
those
once
decisions?
again, that is not on the agenda.
Security of your IT software.
Please continue.
Thank you, Deborah. I will continue. 2 closed-door sessions. Interesting. People had to sit out here and wait for you to finish. Let's talk about water. Water is on the agenda. Somehow the agenda doesn't include the 288 clerical error that needs to be accounted for. In the newspaper, Mr. Cagle said that credit would be given to the utility fund. I looked at the utility fund and I can't make heads or tails of it. Does that mean the citizens who paid into this or get the money back? No, that means that the city gets to decide what they do with our money. Very shameful. People are right now using bottled water because last year we had 77 broken water pipes. So far this year we've had 13. Something going to be done about those broken pipes and bowl water noses? Boy, we sure keep getting lots of those. Also, I want to remind you we're in a stage 2 water consumption process and crisis, but yet no one's discussed those car washes that keep multiplying in the city. When I first spoke, we had 34, now we have 44. When are we going to fix that? It's been 6 months. Car washes and water are definitely problems within the city. 32 seconds left. Let me find out why you didn't, in your public address, discuss the $80 million new city hall
Sir,
that you want to try
once
to have.
again, that's not on the agenda.
Well, it should be. Thank you,
much.
Deborah.
Mr. Michael Fornino, sir.
Madam Mayor.
Good evening. Oh, yes. A council member Boyd.
Sure. I realize there's a determination to violate decorum where it might be possible. Last time I checked, it was Mayor Nash King. Thank you.
Mr. Fornino.
Water, bottled water.
Good evening, sir. You have 4 minutes.
I was doing some research lately, and it was just over 10 years ago that I attended my first council meeting and spoke. I was over there at the water company. And heard council say tonight, oh, these are issues we need to take a look at. My comments 10 years ago about city services, where as a result of not being able to handle the basics, these 2 ladies behind me that I've never met in my life suffered great tragic loss because we don't have enough lights, we don't have enough cops, and we cannot take care of basics. Basics, basics, basics. For those of you who've worn the uniform, if you can't get the basics right, you can't be trusted with more complex tasks. So if you folks had started to listen to us, and I'll pat myself on the back, especially me, 10 years ago, the 2 ladies behind me might not be grieving. You want to flex and you want to strut and you want to parade in front of the cameras and say what a wonderful job you're doing. I don't think the 2 ladies behind me would agree with you. Rather than take Encore to court to try to wrestle control of their streetlights, why don't we just spend that money and install more streetlights? But no, that's forward thinking. We've already covered this before. You folks are not good at that. Demonstrate it time and time and time again. Over the horizon thinking, forward thinking, critical thinking doesn't happen here. You don't want to listen to us, citizens agenda item, you're afraid of anything that's not on the agenda. You had to be shamed to get something on the agenda that wouldn't have normally appeared there, because that would show your failings. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Tonight we have on the agenda appointing the youth to the Youth Advisory Committee. Okay? They're the future of the city. Okay? Unlike last year, how about we do something novel for a change? Unlike last year, let them set what's important to them. Guide them, but don't interfere with them. Okay? Let them determine what is important to them. Okay, they're teenagers, I get it. Some of them will have some
Mr.
screwy
Price,
ideas.
it's a swearing in.
Okay, but still, my name's not Mr. Price.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fernino, apologize. It's a swearing in.
Well, I'm just saying, since they're on the agenda, let them determine their agenda. Do not interfere with them. I have no more clue as to what persons of their age think about, care about, and envision for the future than you do. Let them come up with their agenda.
Mr.
Stop
Fernino.
interrupting me. I'm discussing them.
They are
This is-
not speaking tonight.
They don't
It
have
is
to
a
speak. They're
swearing
on
in.
the agenda. They are on the agenda. I'm advocating for them, and you won't let me, which proves my point. Let them determine their agenda. You're going to let them be sworn in as leaders and functionaries of their committee. All I'm saying is, let them be themselves. Let them determine what their vision is. Okay? Again, forward thinking. You're not applying that. Okay? We need more cops. We need to stop stretching the infrastructure. We need to take care of what we have. And that includes the young people off my left shoulder in the audience. Okay? Stop, think, and look ahead. Time after time after time. If you could take care of the basics, take your egos out of the equation, and this city would be a whole lot better off.
Thank you. Mr. Sean Price. I'm sorry, Mr. Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to remind the public that deadline to file for Killeen City Council is February 16th. So there's still
Mr.
time. A lot of times it's easier to
Mr.
criticize from the sidelines. So feel free to file a packet and we'll see you at the ballot box.
Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilwoman Gonzalez. All right, thank you. For the individuals that are new here, our agenda item is important that when you do come to our council meeting, if you want to get more involved, and especially with our agenda items moving forward for the new visitors are here, please sign up and give your comments during citizen comments on some agenda items. With that being said, Mr. Sean Price. Good evening, sir. How are you? It is. I apologize. How are you doing?
You know,
Good
accidents
evening.
can happen, right, Mayor?
Yes,
All right,
sir. I
City Council,
apologize.
Mayor?
Sorry
All right.
about
Hey,
that.
Yeah, and I took you up on your offer. So, and just to echo, right, my condolences. You, I know those types of losses personally. I have several questions about the agenda items tonight. On RS 24-019, right? It's a big lump sum. I got that, right? It's software, which is not very big. However, it is data, right? And that data, when it's utilized, has certain components that are required, and that's hardware. So if we're going to increase that capacity on the software side through data, you have to increase the hardware side, which is not mentioned here. And the other question I would have is that what is the ultimate overall profit that this company is actually going to make? So Those are my two questions I'm not able to find in any of the information that's provided publicly. With RS 24-020, why don't we rent equipment from local vendors? Or have a consignment use policy with them to where we can just call them up one day and get it the next day and utilize it, and they bill us for the total hours used, so we don't have to spend $119,000. We can spend maybe $500 or $600 for the time we need it for, and then just give it back and let them have to utilize the maintenance on it, or, required state maintenance and safety guidelines for it, and they can handle their own warranty program. So I just don't understand how we're spending money for equipment that's not used every day, right? Compared to renting, compared to buying used equipment that's maybe 30 or 40 hours old, right? At a third the cost. So I'm at a loss why we don't do that, right? Conserve, stretch our dollar, make every dollar count for every citizen out here, because it's getting tight. People's pocketbooks are getting really, really, really tight, and it's only going to get worse. On RS 24-022, on the sale of this property, what is being gained? How much profit are we making as a city, right? Are we going to get, I know it's fair market value is what we're supposed to be doing, right? But did we make any profit of it? So did the value of the property go up while we had it? And what that difference is. That's pretty much my question. What did we gain as a city? Because I didn't get the answer when I asked last time, what was actually on this property? What was it used for prior to us obtaining it as a city? And then the rest are on the public hearing. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Price. Thank you. And council, would anyone like to answer Mr. Price's questions? All righty. Madam Secretary, discussion items.
DS 24-014, discuss pedestrian accidents on Elms Road.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome back. You have 4 minutes. Is it
Again.
3 minutes or 4 minutes, Madam Secretary?
4 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
Again,
ma'am.
good evening,
Good
Madam
evening.
Mayor,
Good evening, ma'am.
Councilman, City Manager. My name again is Shavonna Mathis. I live at 305 West Elms Road, Lot C4 in Southern Hills Mobile Home Park. I'm up here to talk about the lack of lighting, sidewalks, crosswalks, pedestrian zings, whatever we may need to keep our community safe, our families safe. I lost my daughter on December the 22nd. December the 5th of 2022. Tatiana was born and raised here in Killeen, just as I was. We lived in that mobile home park for some years. That mobile home has been there in Southern Hills since 1983. So we've seen changes come and go through Killeen. As I said, I was born here 1973. We need to do something about the infrastructure as far as safety. I can't fathom reading another headline in the newspaper saying pedestrian killed in Killeen. I just named a few. My daughter was one. Connie's daughter was another. And then the young teenage girl in 2018, whose name I don't remember. As a citizen of Killeen, I take this very seriously because I also work for Killeen Independent School District. And I'm a paraprofessional for Killeen Independent School District. And I hold several titles in the district with that being said. One of my job titles is crossing. I go out every morning and I cross these boys and girls to and from school. Very vigilant about how I cross these students because I don't want any parent to get that call, hey, there's an accident, we need you to come. or that your baby boy or baby girl are not here anymore. I take that very, very serious. I honk at cars, I fuss at cars. You're in a school zone, slow down. If I don't watch out for our babies, and if you guys don't help us watch out for our babies, or any other, an adult that might be inebriated in some way, shape, form, or fashion, who's gonna watch out for our citizens? I don't want to take up too much time because my nerves kind of got the best of me because my anxiety, because this is a big thing for me to talk about right now. But I do know that I love my city. Again, born and raised. Born and raised. My mother still lives in the same house. 40 years, born and raised. And I'm proud of my city, but I know that we can do better. We have to do better. Speeding, I know it's not too much we can do about speeding, but we do need the power, the manpower, the police officers out there actually doing their jobs. Not being able to hear those words, Mom, whatever she might have said, you know, it kind of hurts. But also to know that the City of Killeen's Police Department did not take care of, I don't think they properly investigated. I got a call from the judge saying, oh, well, they pronounced your daughter dead. Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I ran up the top of the street from my mobile home, and I saw my daughter laying there in the road, dead, eyes asphyxiated, no movement. And you tell me she failed to yield the right of way. But if you see that area, how do you yield the right of way? So take it upon yourselves to drive down West Elms Road in between the Stop and Save and the Gateway Food Center, convenience store where they have the smoke shops at, and you'll see how destituted the lights are. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, council, the challenge, our priority should be to focus on our roadways, especially the walkways. With that being said, Madam Secretary. Oh, I apologize, Councilmember Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And ma'am, both of you, there's nothing we can do to make you feel comfortable. That's a loss that any parent is ready to deal with. Going forward, there is a safety task force, K-Temp, that's done by the Killeen Temple Metropolitan Planning Organization. Myself and Mr. Yeagers, so I hope I pronounced that right. Zegers, sorry, wrong alphabet. We both on that task force, and part of that is designating all of the unsafe locations to be able to receive some of the grant money, infrastructure money to address those issues going forward. And I agree that it should be on one of our budget priorities, but we will have some more assistance to address that across the city. The next K-Tempo meeting is next week at 9:30, and they do take public comments. We have 3 votes on that body, but to make sure that we can make sure that money comes will be good. If you're able to come and speak, you can do it online as well. You don't have to physically be there. And I'll get your contact information from Councilmember Boyd, and I can forward you the link to do that. But that is the action plan hopefully will be done in the next couple of months. And hopefully Killeen can get a good chunk of those funds, since we have the bulk of the people that are affected by that in that area. That's all I have.
Thank you. No problem.
Good evening, and thank you, ma'ams, for being here tonight and expressing your concerns for those areas. But I want you to know that condolences go out. But at the same time, I know a mother's love for their child. And to say that you've lost them with that and to come back and to fight, what better way? So thank you. Be at the K-Tempo, be at the next couple of meetings. We got you. We're going to go and we're going to look and we're going to see and we're going to look at the light and we're going to look at our money. Don't think that sometimes we think that because we get up or we bring our sympathies or our concerns to the council that we don't listen. We listen. We may not say nothing right there at the moment, but we listen. Our mayor has told us that our main priority is safety, and you better believe she's going to be on us about being safe in our neighborhoods. Matter of speaking, I'm going to go riding tomorrow. So we want to help, and we want to do the right thing. And again, condolences.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. And as I stated, this is something that will have to come out of our funding, the city, so this should be one of our top priorities. Madam Secretary, consent agenda, Madam Secretary?
MN 24003, consider minutes of special city council meeting of January 9th, 2024. MN 24004, consider minutes of regular city council meeting of January 16th, 2024. RS 24019, consider a memorandum resolution approving software as a service agreement with OpenGov and Ultimate Kronos Group for the Financial and Human Capital Management Suite in an amount not to exceed $5,380,829.09. RS 24020, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the procurement of a crane body for the Public Works Water Distribution Division from Silsby Ford in the amount of $119,537.60. RS 24021, consider a memorandum resolution awarding bid number 2412, gasoline, unleaded, and clear diesel fuel for Killeen Regional Airport to Fikes Wholesale Incorporated in an amount of $133,900 for FY 2024. RS 24022, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the sale of real property at the intersection of Jim Avenue and Anna Drive. RS 24023, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with Families in Crisis Incorporated, utilizing American Rescue Plan Act funds for operating expenses for the Friends in Crisis program in an amount not to exceed $350,000. RS 24024, consider a memorandum resolution appointing commissioners to the Youth Advisory Commission for fiscal year 2024. RS 24025, consider a memorandum resolution approving an election services contract with Bell County.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mrs. Ford.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. Would you like the Executive Director of Parks and Recreation to come up?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask our three candidates for our Youth Advisory Commission to please come forward.
I'm sorry, Mayor, can I ask, are we going to vote before we swear the commissioners in?
Because on our consent agenda, if we vote on it, once a council vote, we can't go back to it. That's in our government standards and expectation.
But they won't be members yet until you appoint them.
Okay.
Do you want to pull that?
You saying we can't do that?
I think you can vote on it and then swear in the officers, yes.
This is abnormal because we normally don't do it this way. So I just want to make sure that once we vote, we can swear them in and we still within the Open Meeting Act.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Sagara.
Mayor, I just want to make a motion to go ahead and approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. And Councilmember Boyd, you were first, but I went down. Councilmember Boyd.
Second.
All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. Good afternoon. All right, are you ready? Okay, you're going to raise your right hand. And that's okay. And when I say I, you state your name, okay? Okay, this is your oath of office. I. All right. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Youth Advisory Commission member of the City of Killeen of the state of Texas and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations. Council, would you please stand up so we can get a photo? Thank you, Ms. Snook, and all the YAC commissioners that did come out to support. Thank you, and their family members. Thank you. Councilmember Solomon, I see your name. Did you want to say something, sir? All right. Thank you, council, for your patience, and thank you, Attorney Clemens, for direction. Thank you. Madam Secretary.
PH 24003, hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance requested by Timothy Turner on behalf of Cleo Bay Imports, case number Z2329, to rezone part of the J.H. Lewis Survey 2-1, abstract number 536, from R1 Single Family Residential District to B3 Local Business District. The property is locally addressed as 4452 Reese Creek Road, Killeen, Texas. The caption of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending the City of Killeen zoning ordinance by changing the zoning of approximately .569 acres being part of the J.H. Lewis Survey 2-1, abstract number 536, locally addressed as 4452 Reese Creek Road, Killeen, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential District to B3 Local Business District, providing a savings clause, providing for the repeal of conflicting provisions, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Council, city staff provided a slide deck last week. Would you like them to present it again? All right. With that being said, with the applicant, he or she, would you like to say anything? Okay. We'll hold a public hearing. Mr. Sean Price. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, again, Mayor.
Welcome
and
back.
council. Yep. I'm always up here asking questions. So my biggest concern about these changes are, since it's so close to residential, how does it affect them? Because they're getting even closer now, right? And we're talking about motor vehicles, and motor vehicles are loud, and some of them have the extra loud systems on there to make them even louder. So that's my concern, is that, has that factor been included in this evaluation for these properties? That's That's the sole question I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Public hearing is closed. Council, what is your pleasure? Councilmember Boyd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve PH 24-003.
Thank you. Councilmember Sagara.
I second that.
All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. Madam Secretary.
PH 24004, hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance requested by Quintero Engineering on behalf of A&T Construction LLC, case number Z2330, to rezone approximately 7.4 acres being part of the W.L. Harris Survey, abstract number 1155, from R1 Single Family Residential District to R2 Two Family District. The property is generally located south of the intersection of Mesa Verde Drive and Alfredo Guerrero Drive Avenue, Killeen, Texas. The caption of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending the City of Killeen zoning ordinance by changing the zoning of approximately 7.4 acres out of the W.L. Harris Survey, abstract number 1155, from R1 Single Family Residential District to R2 Two Family Residential District, providing a savings clause, providing for the repeal of conflicting provisions, providing for an effective date."
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Council, the staff presented this slide deck last week. Would you like them to present it again? All right, with that being said, public hearing is open. Ms. Kimberly Palace? Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. You have 4 minutes.
Good evening. I oppose the rezoning of the single-family homes into duplexes located between Eagle Valley Subdivision and Mesa Verde. The amount of traffic that we're already experiencing from businesses and already the new housing that's there has increasingly made it impossible to be able to exit or enter our homes without colliding. Not only that, when I moved here, and the majority of the people that live within my neighborhood on Eagle Valley side, we were under the impression that the lot behind us would be turned into Parks and Recreation or something that we can enjoy as a family and as a sense of community. A lot of us wanted to get away from duplexes, especially being in a military community where a lot of those houses that we're so used to is duplexes. And I would just like to know what happened to that promise, or I guess even when I was sold on my house, hey, there's going to be parks listed right behind you and everything, and you're going to have this, great little environment to bring your kids out. So that's it. I oppose the rezoning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Phyllis Ferguson. Good evening, ma'am. You have 4 minutes.
I spoke to the council when this first was presented to the council in June 2022, and I live adjacent to this property. We had originally owned it as family land before it was sold to A&T Construction. When we sold it, it was sold with the understanding it was going to be single-family homes, and there was also the promise of there being soccer fields and recreational things for the city. This particular area that is being rezoned right now is 7.4 acres. He's rezoning it as duplexes. It will affect the traffic going on to Stan Sluter. When the notice was sent out originally on December 6th, it was sent with this map. The people within the 200-foot area of this map did not have their houses. The houses had not been constructed. Right now, the area within that 200-foot thing is Natalia Road. All those houses are under construction. We drove through that today. There are 11 houses with sold signs there that are empty, and there are no people there. So there was no one to vote on whether they wanted duplexes adjacent to their homes. We are agreeing with Mr. Ravel when he said last week that this is an area that is a single-family home, and there are enough duplexes, there are enough multi-family homes in Killeen to satisfy the requirements. We also, because we live adjacent, we have seen where the area next to that 7 acres has been filled with dirt to prepare for what looks like parks or soccer fields or whatever. We are aware that there have been no pollution controls on that piece of property, which is not the part we're rezoning. We have seen, we've called the city, my husband called, and did not receive an answer back. There have been no silt fences for that property. There's been nothing done to preserve that property according to the city code. And at the same time, this person is promising parks on this area that you are not considering for rezoning right now. So I continue to be opposed to this rezoning for duplexes when we're looking forward to seeing single-family homes and soccer fields in this area. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And the area where they are building a park, the city is not building a park over in that area. I just want to clarify that. I don't know if it is or not, but it's not the city. All right, with that being said, public, did you turn in your form? Oh, yes, sir. Okay, sir, I didn't close yet, just in case to be safe. Public hearing open again. Sir, could you go over there and get a form over there, sir? Good evening, sir. And, good evening. Just state your name, please, for the record.
I'm a new resident, I'm a new citizen here in Killeen. Active military, by the way. I just bought a house over there in Mesa Verde, and we didn't find out about this issue by one of our neighbors that, for grace of God, she received a letter from somebody else. So whoever is doing this is keeping this on the quiet side. So I'm here with all my neighbors, left and right, and we oppose to the rezoning of this area. So I wish that you consider that. When I moved here to Texas, I moved to a single-family home area, and I oppose to that duplex being constructed there or built there. I agree with everybody that talked about it. There's a lot of traffic already there, and if we bring 50 families to that area, that will increase traffic and issues that I already noticed in that area. Also, a stand shooter, we are lacking on sidewalk and lighting and crossings. So that's my opinion on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and just fill out that sheet, please. Thank you. Yes, sir, would you please state your name for the record, and when you finish, you can give it to Madam Laura over there.
So my name is Andres Santana. I actually live in Vivian Street on the same property. When I first got the property, they never told me we're gonna build duplex or anything. Everything came out of nowhere. We never received email information about it. Now they planning to build, I think, 30 duplex. We don't have, like he said, we don't have no sidewalk bills yet. We don't have lighting. And I know the value of the property is gonna decrease since duplex actually gonna decrease the value of the properties that we have right now. And there's gonna be a lot of traffic and everything going through the new houses. Yeah, I don't know what we could do to actually fix it, because 90% of the neighborhood doesn't know about this. So I would like to know how we could actually adjust this to be able to have an answer for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Would you please state your name?
Hi, my name is Calvin Norwood.
I reside at 5002 Vivian Street in the same community. I also oppose to the building of the duplexes. Yes, it's going to bring our property value down, but that's not my main concern. My main concern is I have a 3-year-old daughter, and all that traffic that's going to be going through that neighborhood, you know, to me, her life is at stake. Bringing all of those, you know, families, I know they're in need of homes and everything, but, you know, they can build those communities, 7.4 acres or whatever it is, somewhere else. Please leave the community to the single-family homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Yes. Okay, you have the mic.
Thank you.
Please state your name.
Melissa Brown. I want to point out a couple things. One, Reese Creek, we already know, has a traffic issue. Reese Creek, Bunny Trail, that whole area, we have yet to have corrected, and there's a lot of growth going on out in that area. Earlier tonight, the council heard 2 absolutely heart-wrenching stories from parents talking about what happens when we have growth in areas, but we don't have infrastructure there, such as sidewalks, crosswalks, traffic control devices, and proper lighting. Council said that safety is one of their primary concerns, so I think that this is one way to prove that that's a primary concern for this council, is to say, not yet. Not yet, because we need to have those safety checks in place before we put any more young people at risk. Let's prove that the safety is a priority, and let's do things in the right order. Let's make sure safety is there, make sure that the traffic is taken care of, make sure the lighting is there, make sure that there's crosswalks that are appropriate, make sure that sidewalks are all the way up and down that street, especially if there are going to be kids that are going to be having to walk anywhere, which we know that there are. I'm just asking the council to say, not yet. Let's table this until at least after the priorities meeting to see where money is going to go. If the city is going to be able to provide and afford to put in the safety devices out there that are needed, and then come back and revisit it after that point to see if, by the time these duplexes are built, will that safety aspect be there? If that answer is no, then I think it's only prudent for the council to disapprove this item and this request. Thank you.
Is there anyone else before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Boyd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I have a question for a staff member, maybe it's Mr. Revelle or our city engineer, in relation to potential traffic issues, traffic pattern problems getting onto West Stan Schluter. Was that not resolved in the planning of the existing subdivisions? Or is it something that needs to be revisited?
As it relates to this particular development?
The entire development to include this one for that that Mesa Verde subdivision, the entire subdivision.
Whenever that was done, I'm sure there were some considerations taken in place. To what extent that was done and reviewed, I'm not aware of, because I wasn't here at that time. But you do know that we do have a traffic impact analysis that is done for, or at least a worksheet that is completed to determine whether or not there will be traffic impacts.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That was done for this particular development. It was determined that although traffic would be created, it would not be created to a level that would trigger the need for a traffic impact analysis.
Gotcha. And if I'm not mistaken, the subdivision has 2 points of ingress, egress. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. If these were single-family homes, if I'm not mistaken, would it not be the same number of single-family homes? Consider a duplex is basically a home split in half.
So, in terms of what they would put on the site for single-family homes, we don't have that in front of us, so
Sure.
I can't.
And I guess what I'm
say.
getting at is the number of vehicle trips. I would guess they would go up a little bit, but not too much. But just to get to my statement here, it's my understanding that Planning and Zoning approved this request. The city staff recommended disapproval, and also noted that City Council disapproved this request a year ago. But as we know, and outlined in the comprehensive plan, recommendation is to increase density and diversity in housing. And as a representative for the area, I can say there remains a need for this level of housing on this portion of Killeen. Notably, in this area, there is existing two-family dwelling community located just 4 streets over. That's comprised of 86 duplexes, once again owned by a multitude of individuals, which creates challenges in keeping the upkeep consistent. The applicant intends to construct, from my understanding, 30 units approximately, and remain the owner of these units and responsible for that upkeep to guarantee that stays upkept, excuse me. In addition, the applicant plans to construct and has already begun to improve a 5-acre tract for 2 recreational fields for activities like soccer and football, whereas the applicant would be responsible for providing parking, maintenance, improvements, and oversight or surveillance of that site, essentially at no cost to the city. This would be middle housing that's much needed and will also offer recreational opportunities. I went back to that site last week just to go view, because I heard some concerns about we were promised recreational fields and things like that, and I did my due diligence. And I made contact just to verify what the intent is here. And I walked the grounds and I seen for myself, and I'm very confident that we will get those recreational fields. The applicant, from my understanding, is very passionate in the area, working in a local soccer community, so I can understand where that might have been a concern, where we don't have access to soccer fields in the city for folks who would like to use it on a regular basis. But to get to the point, this would provide additional middle housing and recreational activities. And with that said, considering the regular concerns that do come with multi-family dwelling requests, I make a motion to approve PH-24-004.
The applicant is here as well, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The applicant? Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Cigar, I thought you said second. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, I thought you said second.
Yeah, I'll second, but I want time to speak, but if I can ask the applicant to come forward. So that's my second. Is it my turn to speak? All right, first of all, I just wanted to maybe get some clarification on what's been said here. And I know I toured the property yesterday, so I had the opportunity to go out there, because this is a big item that I know that council has looked at all the different angles of it. And most of the concerns that were brought up are things that are always brought forth anytime that there is a rezoning request. And number one is always property values, and we know that that doesn't happen. We've built subdivisions next to mobile homes, and never have I seen property values go down. And on the contrary, when property values go up, people always increase in taxes. And I always kid around and I say, do you want to pay more taxes? And no, I don't want to do that either. And so, but unfortunately, that does not happen. Where the taxes go down, usually they always go up. So that's not a legitimate concern for here. Safety, I know that safety, the more turns the street has, the less high traffic is going to be down there. And looking at there, I noticed that there is a lot of turns on there, so that doesn't give an opportunity to car, drive down there, like going down to Tremere and stuff like that. But my question to you, and as council, when we build these subdivisions, we're looking to add more green space. And looking at that, I think that's the intent, to put more green space as a soccer field. And I just want you to kind of clarify us, because I heard something about not being, what was it said, not being environmental or something like that. So if you can explain your intent with the soccer field and all that.
Well, I'm not sure what they were talking about as far as what was said before, because I didn't own the property at that time.
No, when she came up and she talked that maybe you weren't in accordance as a drainage. I think maybe it was drainage or something.
Right. So we didn't put any silt fences up, because that water all goes into a retaining pond that I own. And then from there, the water crosses over into big boulders and stuff that we did in accordance with, to do that subdivision to the side of Mesa Verde. So all that water drains in the same path that it does.
And are you going to actually do a soccer field out there?
Yes, I am.
Is that anywhere that can be said that, okay, if you approve this, we're going to build a soccer field?
No, sir.
Because they're like saying something was said before, and we can't go off of what's said. It's like, what is actually going to happen, so.
Right, when they bought the property off Collette Barnes, I'm not sure exactly what they told them, because I didn't own the property, like I said, behind them. The Fergusons owned it, and I guess if they were going to donate it to the city to put fields there, then they wouldn't have sold it to me. But my intentions are to do soccer fields. I don't know, it could be 10, I could die tomorrow, and then my kids could do whatever they're going to do with it. But my intentions, as long as I'm alive, is to have a park and places for kids to play and adults to play on.
Yeah. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries, 6-1, with Council Mayor Pro Tem in opposition. Motion to adjourn. The motion was made by Councilmember Boyd, and it was seconded by Councilmember Sagara. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.